Hey Screen Rant fans, it's Ryan here with Rob.
Hi everybody.
Today we're back with a new episode of Theory Battle, and in this one we're talking about our favorite subject, Avengers 4. Seriously, we can't stop thinking about it.
If this is the first episode of Theory Battle you're checking out, here's how it goes. Ryan and I are going to take turns presenting theories about the movie to you guys.
We'll break them down and explain why they could be true. Then in the YouTube comments section, you guys duke it out and discuss which one you think is the most likely to be true.
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about potential villains in Avengers 4.
Yeah, and just before we dive in, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. That'll let you stay up to date with all our latest videos.
So why is it that we're even talking about potential villains for Avengers 4? We know that Josh Brolin is in the movie, so it's pretty clear that Thanos will be there too. Unless in some major twist they have him show up as Cable.
Cable would be able to help out if it ends up being a time travel movie, but Thanos accomplished what he wanted to do at the end of Infinity War, and it would feel kind of easy story-wise for Marvel to just dedicate an entire movie to reversing the events of the previous movie. We'd like to think that they have a little more than that in store for us.
I mean, obviously, whatever happens along the way, they are going to get the snap reversed, because there are way too many dead heroes right now. But that doesn't mean that Thanos is the big bad guy of the movie. In fact, some leaked packaging for some Avengers 4 merch may have actually confirmed that he's not.
Yeah, there's some packaging for some Thor and Rocket toys that first of all features a brand new Avengers costume that looks like they're going to start a hockey team or something, but there's also some pretty big potential plot details on there.
The description for the toy says, the Asgardian Thor wields the mighty Stormbreaker in his battle against new foes. Rocket teams up with a new crew to guard the galaxy from an even greater threat.
Seeing as Thanos just erased half of all life, an even greater threat than him has to be a pretty massive one. And the Marvel Universe is filled with massive threats to rival the strength of Thanos. So we're going to take a look at a couple of contenders who would be a good fit to join the party in Avengers 4. With all that out of the way, Rob, go ahead and kick us off with the first theory.
Thanks, Ryan. The theory I'm presenting says that Galactus will be the main villain in Avengers 4. Now, apparently Galactus is caught up in the Disney and Fox merger right now.
Yeah, even Galactus has to deal with boring legal stuff sometimes.
But we don't really have any idea what's going on behind closed doors at the movie studios.
Well, except for our pitch meeting videos, though. Those are 100% accurate reenactments of what goes down in Hollywood.
Of course. And even though that massive merger is happening right now, Fox and Disney have worked out some deals incognito style in the past. For example, Disney got to use Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 because Fox wanted to make some changes to Negasonic Teenage Warhead's powers in Deadpool. So if Disney really wanted to get their hands on the rights to Galactus, I'm sure they had more than enough interesting things to offer Fox in exchange for that. Maybe they gave them all free passes to Disney World.
Not a bad deal.
But anyway, with the assumption that all the rights and legal stuff got worked out, Galactus would be an amazing villain to follow up after Thanos. So let's talk about who Galactus is in the first place, and what his whole deal is. Basically, he's a cosmic entity that needs to devour entire planets to stay alive. He's like a hungry hippo. Except instead of marbles, he gobbles up planets.
A much more horrifying version of that game.
You might remember that Galactus kind of appeared in Fantastic Four: The Rise of the Silver Surfer back in 2007. I said kind of because they made him appear as a cloud, which fans weren't super happy about.
He ended up looking like the galaxy's deadliest fart.
So yeah, hopefully the MCU would do a little better than that. There are a couple of reasons why Galactus would be the perfect villain to follow up after Thanos. First off, okay, so Galactus might be a genocidal force to be reckoned with and stuff, but he serves a super specific purpose in the Marvel Universe. By strutting around and devouring planets, he's essentially this force of cosmic balance. And you might remember that in Avengers Infinity War, Thanos kind of had a thought or two about balance. His whole thing was that he wanted to wipe out half of all life to fulfill his idea of what balance in the universe would look like.
Oh, is that what that was about? I thought he just liked snapping his fingers.
So since that balance has happened, then what happens with Galactus, this other force of balance flying around out there? That'd be something super interesting to start exploring in Avengers 4.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Galactus was calmly taking care of his garden and Thanos suddenly rolled in and set half of it on fire.
Another interesting thing about bringing Galactus on board at this point is that this guy is obviously fearless, right? If you can eat a planet, there's not much to be afraid of. But in the comics, there is one thing he's afraid of. This device called the Ultimate Nullifier. This thing has the ability to totally rewrite reality, meaning it could rewrite him out of existence.
You could understand why he'd be scared of something like that.
Marvel might not specifically introduce the Ultimate Nullifier, but they may have Galactus be pissed off that Thanos recently got his hands on another reality modifier, the Reality Stone. So Avengers 4 could see Galactus coming and trying to get his hands on that bad boy himself. Thanos and Galactus have fought each other in the comics, so there's a precedent for them going head to head. Now, most people think that the entire Avengers 4 movie is going to be about the Avengers trying to reverse Thanos' snap.
Yeah, I gotta say, it'd be pretty neat if Spider-Man wasn't dead.
But there's a theory floating around which actually ties nicely into this Galactus one, that's actually going to be resolved pretty early in the movie. Then, with the arrival of Galactus, we'll be in a situation where Thanos and the Avengers are essentially on the same side. Neither of them want Galactus to get his hands on the Reality Stone or devour their respective planets.
That's a solid reason to team up.
It could also be that since Thanos is so weak and near death at the end of Avengers Infinity War, that he works out a deal with the Avengers that he'll reverse the snap if they help him defeat Galactus.
Sounds like a win-win to me.
So let's hear your theory, Ryan.
Yes, sir. So the theory I'm presenting says that the villain is going to be Annihilus. So Annihilus is another character that's technically also caught up in the whirlwind of the Disney and Fox deal, but like you mentioned, secret deals between the two companies have taken place before. So I'm just going to kind of copy-paste that part of your theory if you don't mind.
Be my guest.
Now, one big thing we've been told about the upcoming Avengers movie is that the title itself is pretty revealing. So once we get that title, we should start to get a better idea of what this movie's actually going to be about.
So what? Is it going to be called Avengers? Watch out everyone, Annihilus is here now?
Not exactly, but not too far off either. One of the main theories about the title of Avengers 4 is that it's going to be called Avengers Annihilation. Annihilation wasn't an Avengers storyline in the comics, but the MCU is pretty liberal with their use of titles, so that's no reason they wouldn't use it. A big part of this was an alleged leak from somebody who said they worked on the movie and said that that's the title. But yeah, you definitely need to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because this is the internet after all.
Then there's also this image that the Russo brothers released teasing the title. There's not much to go on in the image other than the latter forming a giant A, maybe? But it's also possible that they were just messing with us, because if you're sitting on a giant secret like that, you might as well have some fun with it. Regardless of any of that stuff is true, Annihilus is another character that would be a much bigger threat than Thanos. He has this thing called the Cosmic Control Rod, and it lets him manipulate matter on a molecular level and basically extend his life and grow his power. He also has an alien army called the Centurions, and Annihilus rules this place called the Negative Zone, which is a parallel universe filled with antimatter. We know that other realms and universes are supposed to play an even bigger role in the MCU moving forward. So introducing Annihilus in the Negative Zone is a perfect way for Marvel to really establish what kinds of threats can come out of those other places. Because they introduced us to Dormammu and Doctor Strange, this massive threat from the Dark Dimension, but he was on screen for like, what, 3 minutes?
Yeah, he basically showed up and was like, oh, time is a thing? Never mind, I'm out.
Right, so if Marvel really wants to kick this whole other realm and universe thing into high gear, they need a really big bad guy from one of them to get some really good screen time. Now, as far as story goes in the Annihilation event, Annihilus basically bulldozes through the universe and destroys any planet he comes across. And his end goal is, as you might have guessed, total annihilation. Now, if you look at Thanos, that's definitely not something he's into. His whole deal was that he saw everybody on his planet basically go extinct because of something he was able to control, and he vowed to never let that happen again. So if Annihilus is rolling in and wants to wipe out all life, that's definitely something that Thanos would step up to fight him over.
Yeah, he wants that 50% sweet spot. No more, no less.
And in fact, in the Annihilation storyline, Thanos originally worked with Annihilus because he was told that Annihilus wanted to bring balance to the universe. But when it was revealed that Annihilus wanted total destruction, Thanos was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work for me, dude. What supports the theory of Annihilus popping up in Avengers 4 even more is the fact that they're releasing Captain Marvel just a couple of months before it. The reason that's interesting is that there are a couple of things we know about that movie that have a lot to do with Annihilus.
Is Annihilus that old lady she punches?
He is not. But first off, that movie is taking a lot of elements from the Kree-Skrull War storyline, and in that, Annihilus makes a little cameo appearance. And in the Annihilation storyline, Annihilus messes up those two alien races in a serious way. He totally wipes out the Skrull Empire and devastates the Kree with a ton of casualties too. Captain Marvel's also gonna have Ronan the Accuser in it. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so far we know him as the kinda boring villain from Guardians of the Galaxy who was defeated during a dance-off with Star-Lord, but he's actually a major piece of the Annihilation storyline. So with all these elements, it's possible that Captain Marvel is actually going to lay the groundwork for the big bad of Avengers 4.
Maybe he'll pop up in a post-credit scene.
Maybe, and if that is the case, we might only get confirmation on that Avengers title much further down the line. So now we're going to go through a quick recap of these two theories so you guys at home can decide which one you think is the most likely to be true.
My theory says that Galactus will be the main villain in Avengers 4. He devours planets and is a force of balance in the multiverse. Thanos brought his own version of balance to life and may have messed that up. And Galactus is scared of things that can alter reality, which means he may come after the Reality Stone.
And my theory says that the main villain is going to be Annihilus. Most title rumors point to the title of Avengers 4 being Avengers Annihilation. He'd be a great way to push the alternate universe concept further. He wants to annihilate all of life in existence, which Thanos would hate. And Captain Marvel is introducing lots of elements relating to the Annihilation storyline.
You've heard both theories. Now, which one do you think is the most likely to actually be true?
Is Galactus going to be the big bad guy in Avengers 4, or is it going to be Annihilus?
Or maybe you think it's going to be someone else entirely. Maybe you think it's just going to be the Avengers versus Thanos again.
Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And based on your comments, in a couple of days, we'll pin a comment from the winning side to let you know which theory won.
If this was your first episode of Theory Battle, we have lots of other episodes on the channel that you can check out.
Finally, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to Screen Rant and ringing that little bell thing. That'll let you stay up to date with all our new stuff. Thanks for watching, and check back soon for a new episode of Theory Battle. Bye-bye.